You already know what it is. Let me get everything situated on my live for this exclusive live stream. Let me make sure everything is Gucci when it comes to the sound. It looks like we're good and ready to go. I have a dope live video for you guys. Tonight, we're actually going to be talking about one of the biggest singles of the early 2000s. That is right, you guys. We're talking about one of the biggest singles from the early 2000s. We're talking about a collaborative effort between two of the biggest entities in hip hop, you guys. I want everybody watching this on IG Live. Hit that link in my bio. Come join us over on YouTube. We are all on YouTube right now. Hit that link in my bio. I want everybody watching this to come over and join me on YouTube. Definitely appreciate y'all for tapping in here on YouTube. You know who it is. I'm the host. I'm the host, Mikey T, the movie star, and you are now watching the Mikey T, the movie star live podcast. Everybody watching on IG, hit the link in my bio right now. I am live on YouTube, y'all. So come join me on YouTube. All you got to do is simply hit the link in my bio. Let's go. Let's go. Peace. Definitely appreciate everybody tapping in tonight. Definitely appreciate everybody tapping in. What is going on, y'all? What is going on, everybody? Let me just get everything situated. Appreciate everybody for hitting that like button, sharing this video to get things started. That's right. Hit that like button, share this video to get things started. All right, cool. We Gucci. What up, Nick? What's going on, everybody? Let me know what city and state you're tapping in from. Let me know what city and state you're tapping in from, guys. Let me know what you're smoking on tonight, all that good shit. You know how we do on these streams, you guys. Let me know what you're doing, where you're from, what you're smoking. If you're pouring something up tonight, let me know, you guys, because we're going to get this conversation rolling. And we're starting off with a couple major topics tonight. Saturday night, so we got some shit to talk about. You know, Wack 100 had some comments about G Unit. He had some interesting comments about G Unit that we're going to go over tonight. You know, the fact that G Unit's sophomore album, shout out to Belize, major salute to my guy Shine when he got out of jail. You know, he gave me an interview. That was a major blessing. So I want to send all my love to Belize, all my love to Shine. Hell yeah. You know, I appreciate y'all for tapping in on the podcast tonight. And definitely appreciate everybody else. You know, when you tap in, hit that like button. But Wack 100 pretty much downed G Unit. You know, he pretty much he said that their second album sales weren't nothing to be impressed by. He said they flopped, you guys. He pretty much said that they flopped. Southside Jamaica Queens is in the building. My guy's blowing on some purple haze. My guy blowing on some purple haze. Appreciate you tapping in, bro. Much love on the tap in tonight. Much love to everybody that taps in on this live stream. You know, we got some epic topics to speak on, especially this topic of the game and 50 Cent going back and forth over how we do. A record that actually was the game's breakthrough record. And I'll respect the certified gangsters. You know what I mean? All respect to certified gangsters. The video was dope. The fact that the game got his first video look on that was amazing. But the breakthrough single, we all know, was How We Do. You know, it was dope that the game actually got an opportunity to get that look, you know, because he had got work on The Hunger for More. He had got the look on Straight Out of Cashville, but he needed that music video look so the general public could see his face, you guys. You know what I mean? You got to look at it from that aspect. The game put himself on the television set. Very smart move from the game. I got to give him respect. I got to give him respect. And I appreciate everybody for tapping in tonight. Make sure you share this video. Make sure you share this video. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you guys hit that like button. We got some dope shit. We got some dope topics to go over tonight. So let's hit it, you guys. 50 Cent actually spoke on writing for the game, right? 50 Cent actually spoke on writing for the game. 50 said this was a while ago too. This was very early in 50's career, like literally right after he had done work with the game. You know, they were beefing within 2 months of the game's album dropping. Hell, they were beefing within a month and a half of the game's album dropping, you guys. By February 28th, 2005, excuse me, by February 28th, 2005, that whole Hot 97 melee had occurred, you guys. That whole situation had actually occurred. So 50 was out doing interviews about it. 50 said, to get the general public to actually appreciate him, I had to do the records. He took a shot at game here. He said, if you were in the studio with Dr. Dre with his hit production for a year straight, why would you need 3 songs from me to start your album? We all know the 3 songs that 50's talking about. We all know the records that 50's talking about. But listen, Dre beats. Dre beats sell, you guys. Dr. Dre beats are coveted. People wait their entire career. They wait their entire life for a Dr. Dre beat. Once you have a Dr. Dre beat, you should not need 50 Cent. But as a gesture, because 50 was Dre's man, it was possible. Dre made it happen. It wasn't that, you know what I mean? You owed me that. It was nothing along those lines. You're Dre man too, so why not do it? You know what I mean? He wasn't owed that because he was the new G Unit member or anything like that. It made sense. You know, Game How We Do single, it was going to be a smash hit, whether 50 Cent was on that record or not. You know, if it was just Game and Game was just on there, fresh like, newsflash, it would have been a hit anyways. It would have been a hit even if Curtis, Interscope, Jackson wasn't on the record. It would have worked. Now, did it hurt that 50 was on it? No, of course not. Nope. Did he enhance it? Did he bring some of his fan base along with it? You know, he can take slight credit for that. There's nothing wrong with 50 taking a slight credit for that. But anybody could have been on How We Do with the game. You know, but 50 Cent is talking about the warm up and his hit singles. He's talking about West Side Story. That was the first thing that we all heard from the game. West Side Story with 50 on the hook. I kind of was hoping 50 was going to have a verse on that. He didn't, but in reality, it didn't matter because that's the one thing the game has, you guys. The game is able to hold his own rapping on these tracks. So the game had West Side Story. He had How We Do, which blew up. He had Hate It or Love It, which solidified him as not being a one-hit wonder. Because that's the one thing everybody always says, but is he going to be a one-hit wonder? Throw some D's. You know what I'm saying? All these artists that have come out and not been able to surpass having one hit single. 50 said even Dre felt like what he was doing wasn't good enough or up to standard until I actually offered those songs. Dre felt that way? Dre felt that way, Fifth, or is that the narrative you were trying to spin back in 2005 and 2006? Because we all know what the game is saying now. The game is saying that Dr. Dre heard him rapping, and Dr. Dre was like, lay that shit. So Dre felt that way, Fifth? The same Dre that told him, what did you just say? Fresh like, Apparently Dre liked the game's shit, Fifth. He actually told the game. Matter of fact, according to the game, he liked it so much, and you liked it so much, 50, that you came in rapping 50. Bentley. You know what I'm saying? You don't even rap like that. Let's be real, 50. 50 Cent doesn't even rap like that. Listen to every single 50 Cent song. 50 does not flow like that. Share this video one time, y'all. Share this video one time. Share this video one time. Hit that like button. Yeah, but according to Game 50, you like the record so much that you came in rapping the same way. You came in rapping the same way as the game. And we all know that 50 doesn't rap like that. 50 doesn't flow like that. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't rap like that. You can tell that 50 was doing it to mimic him, to sound more and to fit in. 50 has the melodic flow. His hooks are different. That is not his signature sound right there. That's not his signature sound. Let's just be real with it, you guys. Let's just be real with it. Dr. Dre gave up on the game. That's kind of what we all remember. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of what we all remember. Dr. Dre producing for the game. Dr. Dre actually doing the NWA album with the game, and then that album never coming out. You know what I'm saying? That album never actually got the opportunity to come out until it was flipped and 50 recorded with him. But this is one thing, in all honesty, like, you know, with 50's telling the whole world how Dre felt. You know what I mean? 50 telling the world about how Dre was feeling. You know, 50 said the songs that we did, the music that I made was the music that I made with Dre, not what the game made with Dre. Let me light this shit up. Hold on, give me 1 second. Let's go, y'all. What is good? What is good? Neighborhood said he's on that Zaza tonight. Oh, yeah, believe me, Big. I've listened to the JT the Bigger Figure album. I bought that album, bro. I know how the game wrote. You know what I mean? I know how the game wrote. I know the type of artist that the game is. You know what I mean? I'm purchased both those albums back in 2005, actually. Yep. A lot of people do agree that the game actually took G Unit down single handedly. The game actually took G Unit down single handedly, a lot of people say. Let me get a poll up, though, for everybody in the chat. Definitely appreciate everybody tapping in tonight. Appreciate everybody tapping in. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure y'all hit that like button. Make sure y'all share this video. We got a couple dope topics tonight. 50 Cent in the game, how we do. It's being revealed that the game actually wrote how we do before 50 Cent came in. So 50 Cent is basically here saying, you guys, that he wrote the records. 50 said, I made with Dre. The songs he did have music. The songs that he had, I made the music with Dre. Not what Game made with Dre. How We Do, Hate It or Love It, Church for Thugs, Special, Higher, West Side Story. 50 said, I feel like I said this so many times. I'm almost tired of explaining it. Well, this record, How We Do, is being put into question because Game has been talking about it as of late. The Game talked about how he recorded that song with Dr. Dre. 2 weeks later, he came back to the studio and 50 Cent was on it, y'all. Two weeks later, he came back to the studio and 50 Cent was on the record. We're talking about it tonight. We're talking about it tonight, you guys, because we may have been deceived. Have we been deceived for the past 10 years? Have we been deceived for the past 10 years, you guys? I'm putting a poll up for everybody in the chat right now. I want y'all to vote in this poll. I want to know why do y'all think 50 Cent didn't keep the records? I want to know in the poll. I want all y'all opinions. I'm about to put the poll up right now. So make sure you vote in it. Make sure you share this video one time. Sorry about that, you guys. I'm just getting the poll situated. Excuse me. I want everybody to get ready for this poll. About to post it in the main chat. Excuse me on the delay. All right, poll is up, you guys. My bad on the delay. Excuse me on the delay. So, So 50 says, right, that he did Hate It or Love It, Church for Thugs, Special, Higher, West Side Story. 50's tired of explaining it. Okay, so Fifth, why didn't you keep those records? Since they were so good, why didn't you keep them for yourself? Especially after going on the Breakfast Club and saying that your album, The St. Valentine's Day Massacre, had to get pushed back. The album had to get pushed back because of the fact that the Game's album was doing so well. The documentary did so well, you guys, that they needed to push 50's album back a month. Fifth, why are you arguing so much about your album getting pushed back a month when Tony Yayo's album was pushed back 3.5 months, when Young Buck didn't drop an album between 2004 to after 2005, 2006. Buck didn't get an album out until the first quarter of 2007. Lloyd Banks had to wait 26 months after selling 500,000 in a week. I don't get it. You're complaining about a release date. You're complaining about a release date. But let's focus on the bigger point. Why didn't you keep the records? Let's talk about realistics. Game brought the right formula to Dre's beats. Dre and Game had a good formula working together, 50. Game was a West Coast artist that sounds like an East Coast artist. That was the threat to 50 Cent. And 50 knew deep down that Game has bars. 50 knew I don't have bars like Game. Game can out-rap me. When you sit back and analyze it, 50 knows it. 50 is more with the hooks. That's what 50 does. So if the songs were so good, why didn't you keep them, 50? You could have had them on The Massacre. The Massacre track list would have been a little bit better had he put those songs on that album. Maybe we could have got rid of This Is 50. Maybe we could have got rid of Gatman and Robin. Maybe we could have got rid of that weak, out of control. Let's not mention the other Dr. Dre beat that 50 Cent fumbled, Come and Go on Curtis. 50 wasn't the artist that needed every new hot producer in the game. That's how you could tell when G-Unit would work with upcoming producers as well. It wasn't about all that production almost on 50 shit, although In the Club was a spectacle. It was about the 50 Cent hooks, Bad News, F&B Friends. All these tracks, 50 melodic hooks, they work. Doesn't really matter who's producing it. Let's be real. He had a great connection with Dre. He had a great connection with Scott Storch. You know what I mean? But it was really more about 50. Now, when we talk about the rapping on the beats, how actual rapping complements a beat, that's where the Game comes into play. That Game rides a beat like no other. Yo, dude, why are you in my live, man? Check up out of my live, bro. Check your ass up out of here, bro. Nobody's got time for that, bro. We making history over here. 50 knows that he's more with the hooks. You know what I'm saying? 50 obviously knows he's more with the hooks. 50 was selling hooks like crazy. You know what I'm saying? What Yayo even at a bar talking about slanging hooks, But 50 could have had these records on The Massacre. Why didn't 50 keep How We Do It or Hate or Love for himself? What did he not consider them good enough? Vote in the poll right now, you guys. Did he think they were throwaway? Did he think they were throwaway? Did he not think they were good enough? Was it because he considered Game a friend? Or was it just the business level? Or was it just the business? Oh, no. I have all the answers, my friend. That's why you're on here right now watching. He did it because the Game was G-Unit affiliate. Vote in the poll right now. Let me know what you think, man. 50 said, I wrote about it on So Disrespectful. Share this video, y'all. Let's go. Everybody share this video one time. 50 said, I wrote about it on So Disrespectful, which was featured on Before I Self-Destruct, his fourth album, the album that not many people heard. He said, I said Dre ain't say shit. He ain't say nothing the whole time. It's just because he's not confrontational, 50 saying. That he won't, voice his opinion. He just sits and looks. What is there to comment about? What is there to comment about? Dr. Dre is a producer. Dr. Dre gives the beats to the artist that he views as talented. What is there for Dr. Dre to comment on when it comes to the Game and 50 Cent beefing? Why should Dr. Dre even comment on any of this? This is actually an A and B situation. Dr. Dre is the letter C. How is he even involved? Why would Dr. Dre involve himself? And secondly, why does Dr. Dre even care? He got paid for the beats. It's a business. I'm not here to say Game is my best friend. No, 50 is not my best friend. None of y'all are his best friend. Snoop is his best friend. Snoop Dogg. And Snoop Dogg doesn't even get that many beats from him. I hear they're going to be doing an album together. That's great. You know what I'm saying? But Snoop doesn't even get all that many beats from him. And dudes is running around like they are on 50's single. Dr. Dre is my best friend. He wants to produce these beats for me now. No, he doesn't. Dr. Dre wants to make history. He done pushed y'all off. You know what I mean? Y'all got to go live your life. He done set y'all off into the wild. Go live y'all life. Stop depending on Dr. Dre. It's just like 50 Cent. 50 Cent, excuse me. It's just like 50 Cent says about Banks. It's just like 50 Cent says about Yayo, Buck. Stop depending on me. I'm not doing the hooks. Stop depending on Dr. Ray to mix your albums, to make sure they sound good, to make sure 50 Cent doesn't sound like he's recording mixtapes in the hood anymore. Although I loved 50 sound back then. You know what I mean? It's just a new sound that they put on you when you are in the machine. I'm waiting on my Red Bull or my Monster endorsement. When's it coming? You know what I mean? But I'm just like, what is there to comment on? What are you talking about? Dr. Dre didn't even comment on Young Buck and the whole incident from the Vibe Awards. You know what I mean? Dr. Dre, what do you want Dr. Dre to comment and say that he's disgusted with the G Unit beef that has legitimately ended a dynasty? You know? But let's be real about this. You know, Dr. Dre is selling headphones. Maybe Dre got a sour taste in his mouth because you tried to jack his whole headphone deal, Fifth. Didn't you ever think about that? Dr. Dre was probably like, yo, this is my lane. This is my lane. Now that I did successful headphones, you're going to do it. Don't copy my whole thing. What are you doing? You know what I mean? And that's why 50's headphones failed, you guys, because you didn't know what you was doing. Maybe if you talked to Dre, he would have told you, like, don't do studio headphones. They don't even sound studio quality. Dre has a special ear. He has a special talent. You know, 50 is good. Matter 50 is great. You know, 50 is like on that Max B shit. You know what I mean? He's on that harmonizing, the bridging. You know what I mean? Now he's more into the films. He's more into the television shows. But let me ask you something. Let me ask you guys something. When 50 started Vitamin Water, did Dr. Dre come out with a Vitamin Water? It's an unspoken thing. You just stay in your lane and you don't step out of pocket. So let's go with 50. Keep on talking about Dr. Dre and his lack of motivation. It's like, what? How are you saying? Like, I don't understand somebody who shows as much respect. Now, guys, you got to remember, this is a really early interview with 50 Cent. And 50 Cent saying this type of shit about Dr. Dre in interviews is kind of disrespectful. Saying shit like he just sits and he looks. Like, what? Dr. Dre just sits and he looks? You're going to say that about Dr. Dre in a printed interview? And now he's going to say, and on Dre's part, it's a lack of motivation to make the records. It's been 10 years since his last album. And it's not because he doesn't have hits. He doesn't have hit music because it's hit music in the studio every time I walk in there. And it's like, what, Fifth? You're really going to go on a documented interview back in 2005, 2006 and say that Dr. Dre lacks motivation? Are you kidding me right now? These dudes went on to actually create a movie. You know what I mean? When you got a movie deal, when you got a $200 million movie deal and shit, Dre and Cube, all them were probably coming up with Straight Outta Compton probably for the last 10 years. You know what I mean? So that means in 2006 and 2007 and 2008, all these years putting together this movie. Like movies just don't come overnight. You know what I'm saying? So dudes is always talking about a lack of motivation and they're talking about where somebody's head is at. And it's like, please, man, you shouldn't be talking about where somebody else's head is at. Look what Dr. Dre has gone on to do. He has arguably the most successful hip hop film ever to be released. And honestly, he has the best hip hop film to ever be released. With all due respect to every other hip hop film that has been out there, they just took a different level of uh they took Straight Outta Compton to a different level. They put it right up there with every other Hollywood film. There was no cheese to it. There was no, you know what I mean? It was just 100% an actual, they respected it and gave it. I really thought dude who played Eazy-E should have got an Oscar nomination for that. Yeah, Dre's very picky. You know what I mean? Salute, Jason. Appreciate you, man. Yeah, Spider Loke is the OG, bro. And I definitely appreciate him tapping in on the channel. And I appreciate you tapping in on the channel as well, Jason Wildboy. Boom, what's up, bro? Yeah, man. Dre is very selective. Dre is very selective. But that has nothing to do with motivation. You know what I mean? I'm very selective as well, but I'm still highly motivated. I don't lack any motivation, but I'm very selective. Are you kidding me? Dr. Dre lacks motivation. When he heard on the games, we're about to get into what the game said in a few minutes. When he heard the game mumble, fresh like, it motivated him to jump in the studio. Dr. Dre is motivated by every little thing like that, you guys. So I don't really know why 50 would be going on an interview literally when he's getting ready to, start working on Curtis or Before I Self-Destruct and actually question Dr. Dre's motivation. That doesn't make any sense to me, and it sounds like a problem waiting to happen, you guys. He also said, I walk in there and I'm like, yo, what is really going on? Why is there no record? But they're working on the detox now. There is no record, 50 said. What up, what up, what up? Rap a lot. History. Appreciate you for tapping in, bro. Major salute. Major salute. Appreciate you for tapping in. Now, let's be real here. 50 kind of new at this point to the game. Kind of green. Hate to say it. 50 was kind of green. He couldn't really see what was happening right in front of his eyes. You know what I mean? What is bigger? You know what I mean? What is bigger than actually putting out a new artist for Dr. Dre? What would be bigger than putting out a new artist for Dr. Dre? What do we love from Dr. Dre more than even the raps? We love the way that it sounds. For Dr. Dre to give us an earpiece into being able to hear the sound perfectly and crisp, that was the next step in the evolution of Dr. Dre. So for everybody to be wondering about Detox, for everybody to be talking about, was the album Compton a settlement to a certain degree? Was it a settlement for Detox? For everybody to be talking about that, I think we got to look at the bigger picture, you guys. Dr. Dre has given us such bigger products at this point in time than Detox. I think we have to respect that. You know what I mean? He's giving us headphones. He's giving us the sound. You know what I mean? That crisp sound quality that we all have loved from him, which is why 50 and all them go to have their music mastered through him. Why he takes such time to put together these albums, some of which we never get to hear. You know what I mean? Look at what Dre has been doing, not to mention the movies, creating classic after classic, you guys. I got to take my hat off to Dr. Dre, especially for not involving himself in this petty ass beef that actually started over wanting to be number one. You know what I mean? And let me say, there's nothing wrong with two guys going over at it, two girls going at it over being number one. But when they take it to a level where it doesn't need to be taken to, that's when people start to question certain things. Like Game was simply asked, he was simply asked, why didn't you just go talk to 50 Cent? Nori at EFN asked him, why didn't you just go talk to 50 Cent after he kicked you out of G Unit? And we've got a crazy story coming tomorrow on that one, you guys. I hope y'all tune in tomorrow night as well. We got a crazy, like, unrated. Tonight we're talking about the music. Tomorrow we're going to be talking about the street. So, you know, like, after 50 Cent kicked the Game out of G Unit, kicked him out, because we all know that after the Game left G Unit and released the Doctor's Advocate, 50 was still making money off his music. Another thing, we've seen 50 Cent kick other artists out of the label, or the group, I should say, but still allow them the opportunity to release music with the label. So let me see here. You know, it's like, in all honesty, they were looking to create a way for the fans to hear the sound that we are all in love with. You know, 50 is still talking about Detox, and back then, not knowing what Dr. Dre was actually looking to accomplish. Like, 50's imagination at that point hadn't evolved to where it currently is. You know what I mean? 50 was still thinking small. 50 was still thinking, oh, Dr. Dre wants to go diamond. He wants to go diamond and sell a bunch of albums. No, we're thinking big. We're thinking $1 billion ideas. That's why we started rap in the first place. You know what I mean? That's why a lot of these dudes started rap in the first place. They started it as a launch pad. We've seen it happen with multiple people in the game. We see it in all forms of entertainment. They use what they do as a launch pad to get endorsements and other things for their celebrity. Quite simple. That's what it is. You know what I mean? So let me take a look at this poll, you guys. Let me see what's going on in the poll right now. Why didn't 50 Cent keep How We Do and Hate It or Love It? I'm asking y'all that question right now. So 63% of y'all say that he gave it to the Game because the Game was G Unit affiliated, man. Everybody is rocking with that tonight. It looks like everybody's rocking with that. Considered the Game was a friend, 14%. Thought they were throwaway, 11%. Obviously, they weren't throwaway records. Those records right there probably did a combined 7-8 million sales. Didn't consider them good enough, 11% as well. Everybody vote in the poll if you haven't, you guys. He had sleek audio and he had SMS audio, you guys. He had sleek audio and he had SMS audio. Both were actually failures. One of which he actually caught a whole case over. One of which he actually had to plead bankruptcy over, I believe, when 50 had pled that bankruptcy shit. The other, I do believe he got a little deal with SMS. I do believe he got a little deal with he made a couple deals, you guys. Like, I believe I heard he made a deal with somebody, confirm this if you can, with Disney World in Florida for the parks or something like that to use their audio headphones. I'm not too sure. Will says, "What is the point of M and Dre shelving all the material?" A lot of artists shelf material because they don't feel like it's going to be the best quality material. The artists usually release. Now, I heard who said that? Was it the Migos or some shit? Was it the Migos or some shit? They said that artists have more hits in the tuck. Um, a lot of times records that we've heard released, you know what I mean? When artists pass away, we hear a lot of their library. A lot of the time, you can tell that there was a reason that that material was kept in the library. Artists generally want to release their best work, and we got to leave that up, and we leave that up to them to determine what we feel is their best work. A lot of times now it's changed with mixtape releases, though. You know what I mean? Look at how 50 Cent has found various singles. Look at how Lil Wayne has worked his shit. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of times nowadays it's working in a different way. Nah, man, Tyson, Dre ain't pump faking. Dre is making big moves that we can all appreciate. We don't need everything. We don't need the trifecta from Dre. We don't need movies, music, and you know what I mean, production equipment. We don't need him to do. We just need him to do what he's doing. We need him to continue to evolve and cater to us that have been fans of him since the '90s. I'm actually smoking up some Burn Scotty. I'm actually smoking up some Burn Scotty. Yeah, I'm smoking up this Burn Scotty for everybody in here. Definitely appreciate y'all voting the poll if you haven't. So like I said, they were looking for a way to create a way for the fans to actually hear the sound that we're all in love with from Dre. It kind of blows my mind. Like Dr. Dre doesn't need to drop rap albums. You know what I mean? You think Dre is still going to be that same guy from the Chronic 2001? We got to grow and realize we are not in the same time period when In the Club came out. You know what I mean? Everyone is trying to recreate a specific time and place that Dre himself may not even want to revisit. And I'm sure Detox isn't even done. He's probably tweaking songs. He's got clowned in the past for that Aftermath album, and he doesn't want to get clowned again. You know what I mean? He doesn't want to get clowned again. That Aftermath compilation is literally the only thing that you can point back on to look at as a negative portion of Dre's career. And I'm sure it bothers him. You know what I mean? He probably thinks I didn't even have to release that. He's probably thinking I didn't even have to release that album. And this is what happens. And then it tampers with Dre's legacy doing shit like that. So 50 actually mentioned the song So Disrespectful. I wanted to go bring up the lyrics. I want to bring up the lyrics for So Disrespectful, you guys. So Disrespectful, 50 Cent off the Before I Self Destruct album, as I said. He actually addressed the game in some lyrics that I'm not going to go over. 50 actually was so disrespectful in this diss track. I won't lie to you guys. So much that I'm not even going to read some of the lyrics, but I brought up a bunch of them. 50 said, Jay's a big man. He's too big to respond. I'm a big D. You know, the one that everybody's on? You gonna make me sing Murder Was the Case. Bullets ricochet, ping pong, shoot the star off your face. So when he had mentioned Jay-Z, Jay-Z is too big to respond. It kind of went back to when the game would always diss Jay-Z. He would always try to get a response out of Jay-Z. The game literally wanted that to be The Game literally wanted that to be his first major hip hop beef. Now I know everything Game was doing with Joe Budden. I know everything Game was doing with Rascast. I know all that shit Game was doing. Jumping in and dissing Bang'em Smurf and dissing Ja Rule. He jumped in all of 50's beefs. So it's kind of funny to me. I'll bring this up tomorrow, but it's kind of funny to me. He didn't know that 50 was. I run New York. I wake up. I stare at the ceiling. I'm alive. What a beautiful feeling. I put my vest on right after I put on my yo, you don't know? You don't know what your CEO is going through? Doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense to me. I need to make a single. It doesn't make sense to me. Shit don't make sense to me. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on. Buttons. Yeah, come on, man. You don't know who your OG is beefing with? I always know who my OG is beefing with. Oh, we keep track of that shit. You think Beans didn't keep, you think Yayo, you think Buck, when Buck was around Birdman? Okay. Even Rollo was up there at the Breakfast Club. Come on, man. We'll get more into that tomorrow, though. Because today we're talking about the music. Today we're talking about the music. And I'm asking y'all, vote in the poll right now. Why do you think 50 gave the Game a hate or love it? Was it because it was G Unit? Was it an actual camaraderie, a friendship? Did he think they were throwaways? I don't think there's any way he could have thought those were throwaways. Let me see here. So Jay-Z would never respond to him. But then he said, ping pong, shoot the star off your face. We all know that the Game covered up the butterfly with the LA star tattoo, which a lot of people say, why would you do that? I don't get it either. Man. You know what I'm saying? Dudes is representing for Compton, and then they got LA stars on their face. Neighborhood All-Star, you're my bro from Cali, bro. Why would somebody from Compton have LA tatted on their face, or does that make absolute sense? Let me get on with this while I wait for my brother, Neighborhood All-Star, to break that down for me. So 50 goes, come on, Game. You will never be my equal, which is interesting because the Game is talking about being equals for 50 Cent. Come on, Game. You will never be my equal. Okay, Neighborhood All-Star. That was the one thing I was going to point out. Compton must be in LA. So it makes sense. It makes sense. Yep, so it makes sense. Thanks, Neighborhood All-Star. I appreciate you, bro. Yeah, they made him cover that tattoo up, is what they're saying. Yeah, it was not smart for Game to try to beef with Jay-Z. He was just trying to bite off more than he could chew. So 50 goes, come on, Game. You will never be my equal. Your homie shoot doors. See me? I'm what you're never gonna be. I'm in that tax bracket that you're never gonna see. Yeah, you know what 50's talking about? He's talking about what I was talking about last night. When 50 wants a beach house. If 50 wanted a beach house, 50 would buy a beach house. You wouldn't hear 50 like it was back in 1999 when 50 was rocking with the Benz, switching it to the Land Cruiser. You know what I'm saying? It's not back in the day when 50 is swapping out whips. It's not like that for 50 now. It shouldn't be like that for the game now. If 50 wants a beach house, 50's going to get a beach house. I remember I was 18 years old. First crib, beach house. So I checked that off my bucket list. Check that shit off, right off my bucket list. Apparently, it's still on the games. But you know what, man? Drillmatic was not going to be the one to get you a beach house game. So you're going to need to go back to the drawing board. Go back to the drawing board on that one game. You really honestly should have dropped the single with NBA Youngboy. Would have been a great follow-up to the Kanye West joint. But go back to the drawing board, man. Documentary 3. I see a beach house on the horizon, baby. The documentary 3. Let's get it. Definitely appreciate everybody tapping in tonight. Share this video one time. So, I ain't giving nobody shit. I'm going to show them I gave game hits. Started screaming West Side, and Dr. Dre ain't say shit. Now we just eat off him. And when I talk to M, a smile comes on his face. He told me, here's the case. Enemies stay enemies, but friends, they change. What? 50 and M talked about the game beef? What? And that's not my headline? Damn. That's crazy. 50 and M talked about the beef. A smile comes on his face. He told me, here's the case. Enemies stay enemies, but friends, they change. Friends, they change. The game, the guy that 50 Cent and Eminem put their credibility on the line for. These guys who had solidified careers, 50 Cent in the game, 50 Cent and Eminem, put their careers on the line. 50 Cent more so. The game only recorded with Eminem once before. You know what I mean? Game kind of saved Eminem a little bit of face there on that record. He basically said that Eminem butchered him on his own record. You know what I mean? He's like, I just got me on my own shit. You know what I'm saying? He tried to pull the Jay-Z shit, you know what I mean, to get people talking. I get it, game. I get what you're trying to do. It's all a spectacle. It's all a spectacle to sell the album. The people that saw and heard Renegade, you know what I mean, which was a lot. You wanted them to hear that whole story, and it kind of sounded like Jay's story. I get it. You know what I mean? I've been around for a minute. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes we see things like this repeat themselves. A little funny that we saw that one repeat itself so quickly, though. You know what I mean? I'll let it fly, though, game. I'll let it fly. Not many people, maybe some of the people didn't remember it. It was 2005 after all. Yeah, I'm going to do shady numbers. You're going to do shady. You did Shady's adversaries numbers. You did Machine Gun Kelly numbers. When Machine Gun Kelly dissed Eminem, Wack 100 didn't tell you? Machine Gun Kelly dissed Eminem and he only sold 24,000 first week. Did somebody fail to mention that to you, game? Did somebody call game quick? Tell him MGK flopped once he jumped on Eminem's. You finished the line. You finished the line. You know what the line is. Somebody call game quick. Why didn't Wack 100 tell you that Machine Gun Kelly flopped when he dissed the Eminem kid? Everybody failed to mention that. Everybody failed to mention that Machine Gun Kelly dissed, no disrespect to Machine Gun Kelly. And if Eminem feels a way about that, M can come and buy this shit up and buy me out if he feels a way. But no disrespect to Machine Gun Kelly, because Machine Gun Kelly gave me an interview when nobody else cared to give me an interview. Actually, I was interviewing pretty much everybody at that point, but Machine Gun Kelly gave me an interview. And that dude right now is one of the biggest artists. After jumping out of hip hop, he sold 3 times as much as his greatest hip hop album, you guys. So much respect to Machine Gun Kelly for giving me an opportunity when not many future A-listers would. You got to appreciate somebody who will do some shit like that for you. So 50's talking about detox again. I don't even know why I'm reading this portion, but he said, the last I seen him, he stopped and couldn't mix what I had left on my records because he got tied up in trying to finish. Oh, interesting. That's why I'm reading it. The last I seen him, he stopped and couldn't mix what I had left on my records because he got tied up in trying to finish detox. So right there, you guys, 50 was going to Dr. Dre for mixing. That's one of the key things that Dr. Dre is known for, making your record sound better than anybody can make it sound. That is one of the key things that Dr. Dre does, you guys. So 50 wanted to get a little disrespectful. 50 wanted to ask the interviewer a question. And as we all know, do not let a dude from Queens ask you an interview question when you're the one doing an interview. They're going to flip the whole shit upside down on you. It's like, yo, I'm the one doing the interview, bro. All due respect. You know what I'm saying? All due respect. I'm the one doing the interview here. But 50 got his question in. Interesting question. So 50 asked the interviewer, he's like, let me ask you a question. Do you feel when you see Game, do you say, why are you talking about 50? You wouldn't be here if it wasn't for him. No, Fifth. When we see the Game, we say something like, yo, man, what happened with you and G Unit? Why did you and 50 Cent start beefing? What do you think of 50 Cent dissing Young Buck? What do you think of the fact that 50 distanced himself from Lloyd Banks? These are the questions that are asked. Like, let's be real about this. These are the questions that they ask, Game. 50 was just speaking a little bit too soon here. 50's like, so why are you talking about 50? You wouldn't be here if it wasn't for him. First of all, nobody conducts an interview like that. Nobody goes into an interview and says, hey, Lil Wayne, thanks for doing this interview with me, Lil Wayne. You know, you wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Birdman. Nobody does an interview like that. That's actually an absurd suggestion. 50, what are you popping up on this interviewer's podcast every week? Are you popping up like you used to pop up in all the Jack Thrillers videos? You know what I mean? Is that what's going on here? Because if that's the case, then hell yeah, I'll ask whatever the hell I want about. Yo, man, what do you think about the fact that your album didn't sell shit after 50 left your ass? I'll ask all those questions. But if you're not riding with me, if it's not Mikey, G Unit, ride or die for life type shit, why am I here burning all of my potential? Hey, Game, why is it that you diss 50 Cent when he's the one that's actually responsible for your career? Does anybody go to Jim Jones and say, hey, Jim, you're only here because of Cameron? How did it feel to get the opportunity to hang out with him when y'all was in school together and shit? They don't start the question off like that. It's absurd. You are going to ruin your chance to build with anybody So 50 asking this interviewer this question like this is just a little absurd to me. If somebody is in the UK and the game comes and blesses them with an opportunity on the show, they're not going to, you know what I mean, ruin the opportunity that they've got. You know what I'm saying? You wouldn't say that, but you said it about Beans. Nope, nobody says that to Beans either. Nobody. I don't think people start off. If I'm doing an interview with Beans, I'm not saying, "Hey, Beans, so the only reason you're here is because of Jay-Z, but why are you dissing Jay-Z?" The question is like, yo, Beans, when you started parting ways with Jay-Z, what was it that actually made you to form a relationship with 50 Cent? You ask the question in a proper way. You don't ask it in such a TMZ, not even TMZ. Respect the TMZ. You National Enquirer ass shit. You know what I'm saying? I know it's like what you like picking up back in the day when you was riding around singing that 80s music. So, but let me address this here because 50, first of all, it's different in a number of ways. You know, one, let's just call it how it is. Because 50 says here, you wouldn't say that, but you said it about Beans. Beans was around to keep people off Jay-Z. Game wasn't around to keep people off of 50. That's one thing that you're wrong about. Second, Beans was under the impression that it was Rock La Familia. You know what I'm saying? He was under the impression that it was the Rock for life. In all honesty, I don't think the game thought it was G Unit for life. I don't think the game was thinking it was G Unit for life. Let's be real. Does anybody in here, guys, let's be real. We all know Beans was rocking with Jay for life. Let me see if my bro Twiz is around. I'm about to shoot him the link. Like, come on. Like, come on. Let's be real. You know, Game wasn't planning on being around G Unit for life. But Beanie Siegel, that shit's a little bit different. One second. Damn, yo, appreciate y'all for tapping in. Appreciate y'all in the chat. I was just reading some of the comments. Appreciate y'all for tapping in the comments. I'm reading all your shit right now. My bad. Let me get back to it. You know what I'm saying? Beans thought it was Rock La Familia for life, and Game wasn't really sticking around like that. I don't know if Game really knew if he could trust 50. Beanie Siegel would have trusted Jay-Z with everything until Jay-Z didn't stand up for him that one time in court. That's when Beans realized all this shit is fake, when he made the diss track Average Cat. So 50 said when he comes in, he's really there based on his association with 50. Oh, Jesus, he's going in on the game here, you guys. I introduced him the same way you felt like Jay-Z put Beans into a space that we recognize Beans. I don't really hear people say that to Game, and I'm happy to get to address this actually. I don't hear people say we know you because of 50 Cent. So how are you so comfortable with dissing 50 Cent? All right, right there, man. Right there, man. Let's be real. Beanie Siegel had a buzz in Philly. The game had a buzz in California to a certain extent. You know what I mean? I know for a fact that 50 did enhance the game's buzz dramatically. You know what I mean? The 50 Cent jumping on that record at that point in time, that record actually having a different flow than In the Club. People were all too happy to hear 50 rap a different way, man. The record was major. But the game was making noise out in California. The game's brother, Big Face, was actually putting together compilations with some of the most famous rappers, and the game's music would be within that. The game was making such a wave that he was having people come after him to make albums like a JT the Bigger Figure. That album actually was given the opportunity to sell alongside the documentary in a store. Not every artist got that opportunity. Not every artist got that opportunity. You'd see the G Unit joints. You'd see the G Unit joints at the mom and pop stores. And I'm just being it real with it, guys. You'd see the G Unit joints at the mom and pop stores. But the game, Untold Story, that joint, you guys, was actually in those major stores. I copped it the same week that the documentary came out. "50 said, even the record company, see, there are people, when I tell you there are certain people who didn't have a responsibility to be cool with you because they were just doing business, that's the way I view Interscope as a record company. I have no loyalty to Interscope because they have no loyalty to me. It's just what can make some money. And this is something Wack 100 just spoke on. He spoke on the fact that G Unit's failures in the game making an impact really made Interscope say, yo, 50, sorry, game is buzzing. We're rocking with him. 50 really felt a way about this, you guys. This is actually kind of childish for 50 Cent to feel this way. 50 Cent being like, oh, the label has to be cool with me. Are you serious? That's not how this shit works. But you know what? 50 really just took that with everything. That's why he's not cool with the game no more. 50 is not cool with the game any longer because of the fact that the game wanted to work with Nas. Because of the fact that the game wanted to work with Jadakiss and Fat Joe. It's not like he came out there trying to work with Ja Rule. The game even downplayed the Source magazine over you. You know what I'm saying? The game even downplayed the Source magazine over his relationship because they were all on the XXL shit back then. They were all on that double XL shit. The game had their back in every single way. Joe Budden, who was decimating those guys. Let's not bring up some of that five heartbeats. You know what I'm saying? He went after Smurf and Domination, who were decimating 50 in the street. So we got our dude decimating 50 in the street. And then we got dude decimating 50 on the mic that the game both went after. Like, come on, what do you expect? And then when Game is taking shots at Jay, 50's like, don't do it. Don't do it. Yep, the labels, man. The labels, man. The labels playing a part with it. 50's like, I view Interscope as a record company. I have no loyalty to Interscope because they have no loyalty to me. It's just what can make some money. But what happened, Mr. Interscope Jackson? That was your middle name. What happened? What happened? Oh, the money changed you? You got rich? Game's not your man's no more? Jay, Beans not your man's no more? So 50 went on. He says, that's just the idea. from both of our perspectives. If it was any different, then they would have had some type of discomfort in promoting anti 50. Right after they go pro 50, they go anti 50 because they haven't made a better business than 50 Cent. Since 50 Cent. That's up for debate. You know what I mean? It's like, who did Interscope sign after 50? I'm sure there was a few more successful people. Does Nas run around saying, I'm the king of Colombia? You know what I mean? It took 50 long enough that Interscope wasn't all the way behind him. When you were arguing on the phone with people like Cameron, Styles P, those types of guys, and Cam told you flat out Jim Jones makes more money than Lloyd Banks. So save me that punchline king bullshit. Great. You're the PLK. Great. You know what I'm saying? Great. You're the PLK, but my artist makes more money. But my artist makes more money. What's popping? What's popping? Appreciate y'all for tapping in. And also, if my label is a graveyard, why is Prodigy in the same graveyard? Rest in peace, Prodigy. 50 actually gave Prodigy the opportunity to release his, his albums before he got incarcerated. He had the opportunity to release his albums on Koch, E1, whatever it was at the time. I think it was Koch at the time. So that whole thing right there, 50 gave Prodigy an opportunity to release the music. I thought it was a great thing, but in all honesty, a better decision would have been to have Prodigy release his solo albums on G Unit. You know what I mean? So let's get into this. Since 50 wants to talk about Interscope, right? Since 50 wants to talk about Interscope actually promoting anti 50 Cent, we got to get into that because Wack 100 actually made a statement about that. Wack 100 actually said, let me tell you what I do know. They did try to take it away from the second album. 50 went in and blocked the game's budget and had the label. 50 was hot as a firecracker at that time. So they ain't going against him, and they blocked his budget. Shelved him. Told him he couldn't put out a project. And from that came One Blood. Right there. Right there. And the label told 50, F what you talking about. So the label was completely messing with 50 Cent, you guys. The label was messing with 50 Cent. The label was like, yo, Fifth, we're doing whatever you say. You want to put out Hot Rod with Mary J. Blige. We're going to give it a try. You want to do a Get Rich or Die Trying soundtrack. We're going to give it a try. You want to do a G Unit album, a solo albums from the G Unit guys. We're going to give it a try. You don't want to mess with the game anymore? All right, Fifth. We're not going to mess with the game anymore. But when the game comes and knocks down the door with One Blood, the major follow-up, the record that the game that got the game hot again without 50 Cent. Yeah, they didn't need 50 on that one. It goes back to me saying how we do was going to go. How we do was going to go anyway you look at it. Whether it was game like, you know what I'm saying? Or it was 50, you know what I'm saying? Whatever. It didn't matter who was on the record. It literally could have been, you know what I'm saying? It could have been someone like Jadakiss on the record back then. You know what I'm saying? Since the game is talking about how Kiss was repping with him heavy. It literally could have been someone like that on the record back then. But Wack right here is saying after that album, 50 pulled the plug and the game actually had his budgets blocked like crazy. All until he proved that he could do something. And they did a video for that. And I remember the game had his 2 game chains. And that's where that whole fad got started. I got to give that to the game. That's where that whole fad got started of actually having 2 chains that actually said your name side by side. We see everybody do it. Millie's has the new chains. We actually see Black Youngsters got a bunch of them. All these guys, these popular rappers, do it now. It's pretty dope. And I want to point it out there that I think the game was the first one to do it like that. Yeah, One Blood was fire, man. One Blood was fire. Let's see this. Sorry about that. So Wack is like, they said, F what 50 is talking about. Ain't no way we're going to miss the boat of somebody that's signed to the building. Now let's fast forward. The beef goes on. People don't like to talk about it. So that's the part that I wanted to focus in on right there from Wack 100. As well as Wack, so the beef goes on, this and that. People don't like to talk about it, but Game destroyed G Unit. That's hilarious. Mikey T, 25,000. That's all we got to say. 25,000. That's all we've got to say. So Wax says Game destroyed the G Unit movement to a point that Interscope dropped them as a group. Wax said they did sales like 90,000 first week. back then. It was bad, bad. They was coming out doing 350K and they came out selling 99,000. It was bad. Yeah, they actually sold 102,000 on Terminate on Site. On Terminate on Site, they actually sold 102,000. And on Beg for Mercy, they actually sold 350,000. So I'm going to give it to Wack on this, actually, you guys. His sales were just about right on this. Yes, Beg for Mercy is absolutely, absolutely legendary. Absolutely legendary album. What is up? Return of the Body Snatchers. Oh, yeah. Classic right there. Return of the Body Snatchers. Classic. So, Whack 100 went in. Uh, Wack said, "This is why he said about Dre respectfully. Dre was only with me on the first album. We all know Dre was with the game on the documentary, and we ended up seeing that Dre was not with the game on the Doctor's Advocate. He would show up, was it one album later, but he would only show up a little bit. He would show up here and there throughout the game's career once the beef was actually, once the beef was kind of chilled out." What up? What up? What up? What up? East Oakland, California in the building. East Oakland in this bitch tonight. Start from scratch was definitely dope. So, Game actually spoke on 50 writing for him. Game actually spoke on it. He spoke on writing how we do. Listen, the Game said, I was walking down this long ass hallway and I was like, fresh like, So he's walking down the hallway, fresh like, And then Dre was walking back in the studio. So Dre's walking back in the studio and he was like, hey. And I was like, yeah. And he was like, what's that? And I was like, what's what? He's like, what you mumbling? What are you mumbling? And I was like, don't worry about it. He's like, no, what are you mumbling? And I don't even know why Game would actually tell Dre not to worry about it. I mean, you're mumbling a lyric and Dr. Dre asks you what you're mumbling and you say don't worry about it. You are at Dr. Dre's place to create music. You are literally there creating music in your mind. And Dr. Dre actually says, yo, what did you just say? That's why a lot of people are going to call this story cap. That's why a lot of people are going to be like, yo, Mikey, Game is capping about that. Listen to his story. He's even saying in the actual story that he didn't, you know what I mean? He didn't want to tell Dr. Dre what he was saying. That doesn't even make any sense whatsoever. Why would he not want to tell Dr. Dre the lyric? I know, like, if I'm there, Dr. Dre picks me up. He's like, yo, Mikey T, so you do some ill ass blogging. I'm going to need you to come and blog and call it The Aftermath. And I'm like, yo, that Dre, that actually sounds like a pretty good blog name. And then Dre's like, listen to me, I'm kicking some shit, writing down some ideas on the board. He's like, yo, what's that idea right there? Yo, don't worry about that idea, Dre. Don't worry about it. Yo, go film that idea. You know what I'm saying? Dr. Dre's asking you about a lyric. You know what I'm saying? Dr. Dre is intrigued by your lyric. You know what I'm saying? So Dre's like, what are you mumbling? And I was like, don't worry about it. And he's like, what are you mumbling? And I'm like, fresh like, Impala, And he was like, let's lay that. And he was like, let's lay that. $48, look. Straight cap. Straight cap. So let's read into it, see if it's cap. Let's read into it a little bit more to see if it's cap. So, game went on. After I got done, Dre was like, I F's with this. 2 weeks later, I come back to the studio and 50 was on this. And it was like 50. And this time 50 was as big as a mother. 50 was as big as a mother at this point in time, you guys. You know, 50 was huge. 50 was all over at this point in time. 50 had the biggest singles over and over again on his first album. So Game was pretty happy about getting this record. Game was ecstatic about getting this record with 50 Cent at this point in time. Who wouldn't be? It pretty much was going to guarantee that you not only had a hit record, but you damn near became famous. You know, it took Game from the chance of having a double platinum album or a double platinum single or a platinum single to now having the opportunity to go 5 times platinum, to go 6, 7 times platinum because of the fact that he's working with 50 Cent. You know what I mean? So Game is saying that he comes in and it was like he hears the record and it's like 50, and at this time 50 was big as a mother. And that just kind of comes off to me like, oh, you know, the crazy part about it is like Game didn't know 50 was going to be on it, which makes it even crazier because it's like, how do you really expect Game to feel? Game is upcoming, 50 is established. You know what I'm saying? What's going on? Why nobody told me? You're my boy, right? It's G Unit forever, right? It's like when Game used the unauthorized Jay-Z vocals. He dissed me, you know what I mean? He dissed me on West Side Story. Now he's using my vocals. Jay-Z probably felt like, what the hell is going on? Like, what are you doing? That's the same way that like Game must have felt like, what are you doing? I could have written you an original verse, but to hear you on my song biting, biting my style, you should have just told me because I could have written you an original verse. Game continued. So I was happy about that. Because I was happy about that because we was in G Unit. And that's exactly what I'm saying. These dudes are G Unit. It's supposed to be G Unit forever. These dudes literally tattoo themselves. These dudes tattoo themselves. Why does Game got to come back to the studio 2 weeks later, unknowingly having a song with 50 Cent? Now, I understand times are different. I understand times have changed. You know what I mean? Because right now, if 50 or Drake or Lil Wayne, anybody does a song with somebody and they FaceTime them, that FaceTime is 9 times out of 10 recorded. It usually comes out as some promo, marketing capability alongside the artist. You know what I'm saying? That's what it's used. And what happens then? Then the artist starts taking on different levels of fame, whether it's being able to get more followers, being able to charge people for features, versus interviews, whatever they want to charge them for. That's what it gives you the opportunity to do. You know, that's what that gives you an opportunity to do when you get that FaceTime alongside some of these guys, but the Game was left out of the loop for 2 weeks back in Compton. Can you believe that? Can you believe that? So they left the Game out the loop for 2 weeks. Kind of disrespectful, in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? Kind of disrespectful. So Game was going on. He's like, so I was happy about that. You know what I mean? Because we was in G Unit. But Dre had let 50 get on it. So it was Dre who let 50 actually get on it. And 50 knew what it was when he heard it. So he just got on it and it was me. So that's how We Do was made. So 50 said many years ago that How We Do was actually a record that he made with Dr. Dre. Game is saying that he made the record beforehand. Game is saying he made the record beforehand, you guys. Game's calling cap on 50 Cent. Game went on. He's like, we wasn't even in the studio when we recorded that one. We wasn't even in the studio when we recorded that one. And Fresh Like was me. And 50 was him. But I laid it first. So the dude came after, but he wrote my shit. Now, I want y'all to ask yourself, why is that? Because 50's word is the scripture from the great words of Spiderloak. Everything that 50 says is never questioned. He's 100% accurate about that. It's never second guessed. It's always that person is bitter. That's cap. Show me then. What other songs does 50 rap like that? What other songs does 50 rap like that? 50 responded to Game writing for him directly on The Breakfast Club as well, you guys. He said, higher, special. They say all kinds of stuff. He said he wrote What's Up Gangsta. I'm like, come on, bro. You wasn't even around. You wasn't in the picture. That was Get Rich or Die Trying. He didn't even know who he was until after that. There's a point of desperation. Now, that right there, you guys, I finally got the quote. I get what 50 Cent means by that quote, you guys. 50 saying, you wasn't in the picture. That was Get Rich or Die Trying. At that point in time, we technically did not really know about the Game. Actually, didn't know about him so much. This is October of 2002 when the game made that cameo, you guys. Didn't know so much about the game back then in a front of the picture kind of situation. That's why you saw the game's cameos in that video. They were all side angles. He didn't really have too many. He had a cameo in there of 50 Cent walking right past him, you know. But I want to bring up one other quote that the game had, you guys, where the game was speaking about G Unit, and he was talking about all the money that they made. He said, when we was G Unit, we was getting 2 million a show. 50 was taking 1.5 million. He said 50 was taking 1.5 million. And so 4 other dudes is making so much money. You got to think 100,000. So they're literally getting all of that. They're literally getting all of that. And that's in game is saying it's 100,000 times 50 shows in 4 months. That's like 5. We all had bread. Banks, Yayo, they all had bread. And so, guys, I thought it was pretty interesting to note this about the old classic record, How We Do, how 50 Cent had throughout the years said he wrote it. You know what I mean? All the years, all the last 10, 15 years, we've all been under that impression. The last 20 years, excuse me, we've all, no, a little less than 20 years. We've all been under that impression that it was actually 50 Cent. It was actually 50 Cent who wrote those records. And then we hear on Clubhouse that the game actually did some writing for 50. And it's like kind of wild because it's flipping the whole narrative that we've known. You know what I mean? It's flipping the whole narrative that we've known for the past 20 years. You know, and it's like a lot of people are going to say, well, why didn't this information come out beforehand? You know what I mean? Why didn't this information come out beforehand? Why wasn't the game bragging about this? You know what I mean? Why wasn't the game bragging about this on 300 bars? You know what I'm saying? A lot of people ask different things in regard to this topic, man. You know what I mean? That's why I felt it was important to come on here and talk about how we do tonight. I want y'all to follow me on social media. I'm going to pin it up right now so y'all can follow me on social media. About to end this poll. I'm going to give y'all 2 more minutes to vote in the poll. I'm going to give y'all 2 more minutes to vote in the poll. And I want y'all to follow me on social media. Make sure y'all follow me on social media. If you're watching this on demand, all you got to do is hit that link that's pinned. Y'all can follow me on the gram. Want everybody to follow me on the gram, you heard. Definitely appreciate y'all for tapping in on tonight's live podcast. About to end the poll. Follow me on Instagram. Y'all can follow me right there. I always do open questions. If anybody has any questions about the topic tonight or open questions in general, I'm going to do some open questions right now from y'all. Anybody has any open questions, I will take them now. No, Nick, no. No, I didn't, Madman. No, I didn't. I guess it's time to roll something up. I'm going to take some open questions. If anybody's got anything to throw my way, I always do that on every live podcast, y'all. Do that on every live podcast. If anybody has any open questions that actually pertain to the topics tonight, or if you have an open question in regard to anything, you can ask whatever you want, y'all. Let me get that right there. Gucci right here. Nice. Nice. All right, man. Definitely appreciate everybody for tapping in tonight. Make sure you drop a comment if you're watching this on demand. Definitely appreciate y'all. Salute.